Hey guys and gals, I got Zak Shaik here with me. I met him in Houston. We actually spent a lot of time together in Houston at a accredited capitalist meetup, and he's just a very sharp guy. And anyways, he is an advanced tax planning specialist, and he strategizes in the gap between your CPA and your tax advisor to get you to a zero income tax, literally. I did not stutter when I said that. It was a zero income tax, literally. So, anyways, Zach, thanks for coming on, man. I mean, I guess first question is this real? Can we really pay zero income tax?
Well, hello everybody, and thanks for having me, Charles. Well, believe it or not, it's real. In fact, if you have read any of the publications from Barron's and Kiplinger and Money Magazine, very often than not, you will actually see publications or in those publications, articles talking about, let's pick on some of the biggest names that we know of, like Elon Musk's of the world or Donald Trump's of the world, paying literally zero income tax. So all I'm doing is just bringing that knowledge to us mere mortals to effectuate the same tax strategies previously reserved for the ultra high net worth and ultra high income earners, which is what we call the top 1% income earners of our society. So now all of us can benefit from it. And trust me, I didn't just fall into this information. It took me over 30 years of studying the tax code, studying various strategies, learning from some of the top CPAs and tax attorneys and all different types of knowledges. I personally hold over 30 licenses and designations. And then one day it just all clicked. I said, oh my God, if I just connected strategy A, B, C, and D, I end up with literally zero income tax. So yes, long answer to your short question, it absolutely is very real. And we're able to do this very effectively and without any IRS audit issues, because we offer 100% IRS audit proof guarantee on our tax planning strategies.
Yeah, we don't like those guys coming around knocking on the door for sure.
Absolutely, that would never happen.
Yeah, yeah. So does this strategy work for 1099, W-2, and K-1 income?
Fantastic question. Yes, absolutely. It works for all income types. And believe it when I say that the W-2 earners, which is the toughest type of income tax planning to do because you work for somebody, you're an employee, and that employer is already deducting a lot of money out of your paycheck. So we will make sure that those withdrawals go down to zero. And then by implementing some of these tax strategies, such as the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act strategy of 2017, so TCJA 2017 is a tax code that President Trump had actually put into law when he first came into office. So we utilize that particular strategy for W-2 earners and make their income taxes literally zero. And any money that you may have already paid in income taxes through your employer because they withheld your taxes, you'll get as a refund when we do this tax planning for you. So that's number one. As far as your 1099 and K1 individuals go, absolutely. So we can also make their entire taxable income zero, which means if your taxable income is zero, you pay zero income tax.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Zach, I also in Houston, I heard you talk about the triple ROI strategy, the triple return on investment strategy. Can you just kind of highlight some points on that as well?
Absolutely. That's one of our best kept secrets, believe it or not. It's really, really incredible. So I really want everybody to listen up. So imagine for a second, right now, you are going to go invest in a mutual fund. Okay. You are going to go invest perhaps in a syndication with Charles. You are going to go buy a stock, whatever. You're going to invest your money in something. Typically, you would have two choices. Choice number one, you reach into your checking account because that's after tax dollars, and you say, hey, I'm going to go buy Walmart stock, for example. And then whatever it earns, it earns. So if that stock makes 10%, let's just keep 10% as our theme for this conversation. So you bought a stock for $100, it makes 10%, you made 10% on that stock. Or the other option is what we call a self-directed IRA option that you may have heard about. But you may have a lot of money in your self-directed IRA, or maybe you don't. But regardless, if you invest it through the self-directed, that's called pre-tax investing. But the issue here is, so again, inside of the pre-tax self-directed IRA, if you make 10%, you make your 10%, and you don't pay the tax at the end of the year. In other words, you don't get a tax bill because it's growing inside of this tax favorable environment. Now, everybody talks about self-directed IRA, and I'm not here to talk about self-directed IRAs. I'm just giving you that as an example, that those are your two choices. But there's a third option, which is what I'm here to introduce to you, okay? The third option is, so now let's go back in our example. Imagine your income, your gross income was $1,000. Okay, your annual income is $1,000. I'm trying to keep numbers small just for conversational purposes. It's $1,000, and you had initially saved $1,000. I'm sorry, $100, right? That you bought the Walmart stock with in my previous example. But before you can invest that $100, we all have this despised uncle that we all share in common, Uncle Sam, right? So,
Yeah, that's right.
let's say on that $1,000, you had to pay $300 or 30% in taxes, right? So now you're left with $700, and out of that 700, after paying your lifestyle, your mortgage, your kids' education, bank payment, you're left with $100. That's what you invested. So in the third option, I don't want you to use your $700 in this example. I want you to use the $300 that you were forced to send to Uncle Sam, and I'm going to spin that around and invest in any, so you can still buy Walmart stock, you can still invest with Charles on this, and whatever you want. So what does it mean to have a triple ROI? So let's think about it for a second. If you did not know this strategy, you would pay 30% in income taxes, right? So that $300 is going to be gone. But now we capture that 300. You with me? So now we actually made 30% on our money, right? Dollar saved is a dollar earned. Now this money is invested in X investment. So, and let's say and all of you are very lucky to have an exceptional leader and advisor such as Charles, where he's going to find you the best, juiciest double-digit investments to park your money in, have that security of principal and that predictability of gain, unlike a Walmart stock. And no offense to Walmart, but Charles is actually going to give you a little bit more predictable return than the other guys. So now you have $300 that you were supposed to send to Uncle Sam, on which you save 30%. Charles, for example, is going to give you maybe a 10% return. So 30 plus 10, right? So now the money is growing at 10%, but you initially saved this 30%. Now, so 30 plus 10 is how much?
40.
So we're at 40%. We're doing pretty good. But now remember, in your mind, you're thinking, but Charles, you're only paying me 10%. Well, not really, because when we did this tax strategy, I'm actually paying you 40 so far. But now there's a third piece to this, which is the triple ROI part we talked about. The third part is when you say, hey, I'm glad I'm making this money. Now give me some so I can go on vacation. I can live my life, pay my bills, X, Y, Z. So if you were in a 30% tax bracket going in, you're probably in a 30% bracket going out, right? So let's count the three numbers together. So 30% went in, you made 10%, so we're at 40. And then when you take a distribution, you would save, because I'm going to make that distribution also tax-free. And again, this is without using a self-directed IRA. It has nothing to do with self-directed IRA. So how much is 30 plus 10 plus 30? How much is that?
70%. You're putting a lot of faith into the South Carolina public education.
Well, listen, you know, this is a team sport. I'm not here to lecture. I'm not here to bore you. So I want your mind to work, because unless you participate mentally and not just hear both of us speak, I'm talking to the audience right now, this is not going to make a lot of sense. It's just going to sound a bunch of nice words. So that's what making you do this exercise. Now, some of you may be in a 28% tax bracket, in a 15% tax bracket, whatever. So you just add 15 plus 10 plus 15, for example. And some of you really high income earners who are making over $1 million a year are most likely in a 37% federal tax bracket. But wait, There's more. What's more? The state income tax, the state that you reside in,
Yeah.
right? So you have to
Yeah.
pay federal and state. And as luck would have it, because of these tax codes that I recited to you, we are able to also eliminate your state income tax. So federal and state, they both disappear. And now that's what we call our triple your ROI strategy. Very powerful concept. It literally can supersize and boost your any type of investment to really yield some fantastic results for your investors. And for those of you investing, you should really start thinking about tax savings, because sometimes when I do my live presentations, I I ask the audience this question. Say, how many of you make at least 10% on your money? Hands go up. 15%, a few more, the hands go down, right? Only a couple of people have that. 20%, 30%, 37%. And then I stop at 37%. It's like 37% is a weird number, right? But what I'm
Yeah.
really asking about is you are paying these numbers a rate of return to the IRS off your money. Wouldn't
Yeah.
it be nice to spin that around and you get paid that 10, 20, 28, 37% return, and plus the state of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% that the state's charging income tax? So that's how you need to start thinking, especially after watching this podcast. You really need to start thinking like, how is this money escaping? And now that you have access to Charles, and then you have access to us through Charles, we can make this opportunity available to you.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive more into this in our webinar here in a couple of weeks, Zach. Um, yeah, I mean, the biggest bill that we pay in our lives are taxes. That's the
Certainly.
biggest bill
And
we'll
it's an
pay.
involuntary bill, but now you can make
It
it
is.
voluntary. So there's
Right.
a big spin there.
Yeah.
Voluntary. Now you can
Right.
make it voluntary. You don't have to be victimized by your tax bill.
Yeah, I'm all about eliminating all the bills that I can. You should ask my wife. I'm pretty tight when it comes to all that. Zach, I really
Absolutely.
look forward. Thank you so much for your quick, the quick comments today, and I really look forward to diving deeper with you into this in our webinar here in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Look forward to seeing you guys on the webinar. And please bring your friends, relatives, your CPA even. Bring your
Absolutely.
financial advisor. Bring them all. Bring them all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Invite
let them
all
ask
of them.
their questions. Bring them all, and then you would really see what their depth of knowledge is if they're willing to participate in our dialogue at that call. But yeah, please bring all your relatives, friends, and they're going to be very appreciative because of the opportunities that Charles can offer all of you guys collectively, where you can invest as a family, as a group, as a church group, for example, or as an investment club, what have you. And I think you're going to be very happy. So we look forward to seeing all of you at the webinar.
Thanks so much, Zach.
Awesome. Have a great day, guys.